Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek and I welcome you to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about how to do recording in JMeter tool. To do recording in JMeter tool, there's certain prerequisites which I have mentioned for this video is you should have JMeter installed, and for JMeter to work you should have Java version 8 or higher installed. Now we'll get started with this. So first thing for recording in JMeter is we have to do certain settings in JMeter tool. So first thing is you have to add a HTTPS test script recorder, and then we need to add a logic controller in the thread group. I'm going to show how to do it in the JMeter GUI. So let me launch the tool. Now what you do is you go to the test plan, right click, add, and then you go to the last section, non-test elements. Right click, add non-test elements, and then you select the second option, HTTPS test script recorder. Okay. Now second thing is we need to add a thread group. So we go back to the test plan, we right click, add threads, and we click on the second option, thread group. Okay. Now inside the thread group we have to add a logic controller. So for how do we add that? We right click, add, we go to the second option, logic controller, and if you will look through this you will find an option called recording controller. Okay, so these are the few settings which we need to do in the GUI as of now, and we will minimize this and we'll go back to the slides. So the next slide talks about there are certain settings in browser which we need to do. Okay, so there are two settings, one is called proxy settings and one is called certificates. Okay, so why proxy settings is required? So whenever we launch any website right now on your machine, let's say we launch google.com. So what happens is you launch google.com, it goes through your network and it goes to the server and it picks up the information, and then it comes back and it loads your website. What we are going to do with proxy settings is we are going to route our request through a different channel. So that is why we do proxy settings. So when we record using JMeter, all our requests are getting recorded. Okay, so that was answer to this why it is required. Second thing is proxy settings differ, like the settings are different in different browsers. uh, the major browsers I have tried to cover here. So in case of Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Opera, these all uses your machine proxy settings. So whatever is the proxy settings is set up on your machine, these browsers are going to consider those proxy settings and perform the actions accordingly. In case of Firefox, we have specific, the proxy settings can be set inside the browser. Now if you're trying to work with any other browser, it would have either one of these things, like it might be taking the machine proxy settings or it might be taking the browser proxy settings. That once I'll go through the session, you will understand how to monitor that as well. Okay, now second thing is certificates. Okay, certificates, why and when it is required. Okay, so here in proxy settings, if we are just doing proxy settings and we try to record our JMeter request, our request in JMeter tool, that time we are good with proxy settings only if we are trying to record any non-secure websites. But when we are trying to work with any secure websites, that time we need certificates. So this is the major difference. If someone asks, it is like in proxy settings, we are only going to, if we are only setting the proxy settings, we'll only be able to record non-secure websites. In case of certificates, we can record both non-secured and secure websites. Now moving to the next slide. So this is something I've explained. Now how to set the proxy settings. Okay, so I will go to the Chrome browser. Okay, in any browser you go to the settings section. Okay, so here you click on these three dots, you go to the settings, and here you search for proxy. Okay, now you will see this option, open your computer's proxy settings. Okay, if I click this, you will see this particular page got loaded. Okay, now this is one way to navigate to the proxy settings. The another way is we can just search for proxy settings here. both of these navigations are coming to the same page. Okay. Now, what we need to do here is we need to scroll to this manual proxy setup section. Okay. Here we need to switch this on, and here in the address we need to write local host, and then we need to provide a port number. Now, what port number we need to provide? We'll go back to our JMeter GUI and we'll go to our element HTTPS test script recorder, and here in the global settings you'll be able to see a port number, a section called port. Here it is defined 8888. So we need to make sure that whatever port number we are mentioning here, that is the same port number we have to mention in the manual proxy setup. So it will be 8888. Okay. Just in case this particular port is used for something in your system, and you are getting an error because of the port number, you can change your port number to 8181 or any available port on your machine. Okay. But we need to make sure if we are changing the port number there, the same port number needs to be mentioned here as well. So ideally both should match for this to work. Now, after setting the proxy server, we just click on save. Okay. Now we close this. So as I was talking about this, that Chrome, Edge and Opera uses the machine proxy settings. So once I have set up the machine proxy settings, either if you're coming via Chrome because it is navigating to the same place. So even if you're setting it via the tool, or just searching in your machine and setting it, it is going to set for all the three browsers. Now coming to Firefox, how do we do the proxy settings? So let's take a look at that. I am launching Firefox browser, and I'll click on these three dots and I'll go to the settings. So this is settings. Now I'll just search for proxy here. Okay. If you search for proxy, you'll get something like this, settings. Okay. Now here, most likely some other option would be selected here. So we need to select this manual proxy configuration. Okay. And same thing as I was doing in Chrome or the system proxy configuration, you need to mention localhost here, localhost, and the same port number which exists in your JMeter GUI. So it is 8888. Now this, if this option is not selected, select this option, because we are going to work with both HTTP and HTTPS protocols, and just click on OK. Okay. So as I was mentioning before, that if you just set the proxy settings, you're good to start the recording if you are doing it for a non-secure website. So let us see how that works. So if I go to my GUI, here see, you have an option called start, stop and restart. Okay. So start and stop is pretty self-explanatory. Like when we want to start the recording, we click on start. When we want to stop the recording, we click on stop. Restart is something which can be used. So if you see a section here called request filtering, here you have an option called include and exclude. Okay. So you can include, I'll talk about this, but you can include certain things to be, certain request type of files to be included or excluded. Okay. So if you've defined something and you have started the recording, but let's say in between you are changing this again, so that time the restart function is helpful. Okay. We'll come back to this test plan creation section. So here you'll see you have an option and it says the target controller section. This says use recording controller. Okay. So if you'll click on this, you'll see option called these different options being populated. Okay. So here whatever you will add, that will come into picture, and then whatever is your element, that will also come here. Okay. So we'll talk about how to structure your test later in the session, but here ideally you should select this. I will select this just to show that if you want to record your request in this particular place, you can do that as well. So we will click on this, and we will click on so ideally when you do some settings, it's a good idea to restart your browser just to make sure that the effect is taking place and we are not running into some unusual error. So you click on start. Before that, let me stop this. and just show you one thing. So if let's say I launch Alibaba.com. So why I'm using this website, because this is a not secured website. So what will happen is this will not get launched. Why it is happening is because the recording is not yet started. But once we click on start and then we reload the page will get loaded, because then the connection through the port number will be set up. So here you are seeing I'm getting an option called no internet here. Sometimes you'll get like proxies refusing connection, something like that. Okay. Now if I click on start, just ignore this message for now. We'll talk about this later in the session. So I'll click on OK here and I'll just minimize this. So here if you'll see, I'll reload this page and you'll get this privacy error because it's a not secured website. I'll just click on advanced and I'll proceed to this website. So see, the page is loaded. Now I'll go back to my GUI to see that did it actually capture the request what has been sent or not. So see, the request what has been sent for this website has been captured. Okay. And here if you'll see, the protocol is HTTP. 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 So now we will stop this and I'll just clean this up. Now we'll talk about the next part. So next part is certificates. Why and when it is required. Okay. So initially, if you're doing if you're working with JMeter for the first time and you have, or if you have not used the recording controller thing at all, like desktop recorder, then the certificate would not be created on your machine. Okay. But if you are not able to find the certificate, you need to just click on the start and you will see this pop-up which will say that root CA certificate JMeter created in JMeter bin directory. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to add that certificate. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll get started with Chrome. So in Chrome, you click on these three dots. You again go to the settings and you search for certificates here. Once you search for certificates, you'll get this option called security. Security, safe browsing, protection from dangerous sites and other security settings. We need to click on this option. Now what we need to do is we need to scroll back a little below, and here you will find the option called manage certificates. You click on this, then here this particular pop-up comes into picture. Okay. Sometimes if you bring into personal or something, it might work, but a good idea would be go to this particular folder called trusted root certification authorities and then click on this import. Now here you will get this wizard. You'll click on next. Now if you would have noticed, when we clicked on start, it said that it created the certificate in the bin directory. So wherever you have downloaded and kept your JMeter folder, you just need to go to that folder. So for me it is like in my desktop, and need to go to the bin directory. Okay. So here you'll be able to see this CRT certificate. Okay. This is something which we need to select. Okay. So one thing I'll explain here is, just in case if this is not getting created, or let's say you have installed and you have got the certificate and you're working with that, but you somehow deleted it and you want to do it again. So sometimes if you have deleted it manually and you're trying to generate the certificate again, often people run into this error. So I'll just show the simple solution. You go to your JMeter directory and you go to this bin folder. Once this certificate is created, you will see this particular file called proxy server.jks. Okay. So let's say I'm manually deleting that certificate file and it is not getting generated again. Then we can just delete this and rerun our JMeter and click on start, and it will generate the certificate again. Even in that case, if you're not able to get the certificate, you can just search for this on the net and you'll be able to find this file and you can download and you can place it here. Okay. Now going back to adding the certificate, I will click on this. I'll go to this trusted root certification authorities, import, next, and I'll browse that file. JMeter in your bin directory, and I'll select this and I'll click on open. Next, and I'm placing in this, so I'm clicking on next and then finish. Okay, you're about to install a certificate claiming to represent this. You can just confirm this and you'll get a successful message like this. Now you click on OK, you click on close. Okay, so this was for installing certificate in Chrome. Now if you want to install certificate in Firefox, similar thing. You need to go to your browser settings, and I'll click on these three dots and then settings. Here you'll search for certificates, and in case it is already installed, you'll be able to see. If it is not, then we are doing it for the first time, so we'll click on import, and again we will go to our JMeter bin directory and we will select this and we'll click on open. Now you have to click on both these options. Trust this CA to identify websites, mail users. Just click on OK. Click on OK here and your certificate installation is done. Okay. So if we go back to the slide, see these were the two requirements in case of browser, which we talked about in the fourth slide. So both of these are done and we understand why proxy settings and certificates are required. Okay. Now coming to the next. Now we are good to do our recording in JMeter. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll close this browser and just reopen it again, and this time we will try to select another recording controller like this one, recording controller, so that all our requests go into this. Okay, I will click on start, click on OK, and I'll go to this place and let's say I'll launch google.com. Okay, so our page is loaded. Now we go back to this, and in the recording controller you'll see the request got captured here. Okay, you'll see google.com https. Okay, so now we are able to record https websites as well. Okay, now we'll talk about how to structure it. Okay, so I'll click on stop. I will just clear this. Okay, so you can just select this and click on delete. Now see, this recording controller is there. I can put any name. Okay, so let's see, let's first decide what we want to do. So we'll create two things, that we will click on Gmail, and uh, then we will click on so since the recording is not started, this is not getting loaded, but let's say we will click on Gmail and then we will click on sign in. Okay, or Gmail images and sign in. Okay, so let's say we want to perform three operations. Okay, so what you can do is you can name it whatever you want. So let's say we write to Google. So first is we can say launching homepage. Okay, now as once you'll click it outside, the name whatever you have given will be populated here. Now you can right click and add another recording controller here. If you want, you can just copy this using Control C, come to this thread group and just paste this. Okay, so what I'll do is I will create one called Google navigate to Gmail, and then I'll say Google navigate to images. Okay, I'll just delete this. Okay, so now you'll go back to your HTTPS test script recorder. Okay, few things which we need to understand is here. Now in the target controller, you'll see that this will pop up whatever options you have created in your thread group. So how it helps is when you are creating a test case, and you will have certain steps. So whatever actions you are performing, you can easily group your request into those particular pages. So let's say I'm launching home page, so I'll select this. If I'm navigating to Gmail, I'll select this. If I'm navigating to images, I'll select this. Okay, so let's click on this launching home page. We'll click on start here. Okay, we'll click on OK, and we'll minimize this. Now if I reload this page and our page is loaded, we'll go to this and see in your launching home page we got all the requests which was for launching the Google home page still getting recorded. So yeah, we got all the requests. Okay, now we want to navigate to Gmail. So what we do is we just click on this and we click to the second option, navigate to Gmail. Okay, we go back to this page and we click on Gmail. Okay, so now whatever requests are being sent for this page will be recorded in the second recording controller. Okay, now so see in this navigate to Gmail, we are getting all the requests related to this. Okay, now coming to images. Okay, so uh, let me go back. Let me stop this recording and go back to google.com, because I don't want to capture those requests, because we are trying to capture that particular page. So I will just click on this start, and I'll select navigate to images here. I'll click on start. I'll click on OK. Now I will reload this page, and now whatever requests are coming, I'll just delete those, because this is just for launching the google.com. However, we wanted to navigate to images, so we do not need these requests. So I'll delete these. Now I will go to this page and I will click on images. Okay. So once this page loads, all the requests from your home page to images page will be recorded here. Now whatever type of script is there, you can group it accordingly. Okay, now there are few things here. When you do the recording, you will see something called transaction name. Okay, let's say somehow you're trying to capture everything in one request, and then you want to uh, change it again. Okay, like you want to understand from the request that what exactly it means. Okay, so I will just go to this page, and I will click on the first section called HTTPS test script recorder. Now if I want to, if I'll say, let's say mm, testing home page load, this is a rather long name, so home page. Okay, we'll say home page. So whatever the name we are going to give here, and if we in the naming scheme we select the transaction name here, and then we do the recording, then whatever the requests are coming. So right now if you see the requests are coming like this, but after setting this thing, if we record, then it will be like home page slash and then whatever is the name. Okay, so it's a very good idea to do that. If I go back here and I relaunch this, now if you go to this and click on this, it should have recorded this. Give me 1 second. Let me stop this and start it again. And yeah, this should do. Let me reload this. Yeah, so here you see home page 129, home page 130. These are the other requests which are running on my machine. These are getting captured, so that's why the transaction name is not getting populated. But here if you see, the transaction name is getting populated. Okay, I'll show you another thing as well. So let me delete this, and you can select the suffix and the prefix as well accordingly, and those will get populated. Now even if you select the prefix, let me stop and let me start it again. So click on OK. I'll let it be prefix and click on this. So if you go to this page, if you're mentioning the transaction name, and even if you're selecting any other option, it is going to take the transaction name. So this will be little helpful if for identification as well. So we'll click on stop, and so this was regarding how to do the recording. This was on Google Chrome. We can do the exact similar way on Firefox as well, and Edge and Opera or whatever browser. So exact same method we need to follow. Now we'll talk about this thing, the test plan creation. So we understand that this is the element which we need to add. We need to click on start, stop, restart. We explained already. Target controller, whatever you want to select here. These are few things like transaction name, prefix, suffix, whatever we want to set. Now in case of request filtering, so what happens is whenever you capture any request, whatever the page you are loading, that is getting recorded. But if something else is also coming or some service is running, those garbage requests also come into picture. Okay, so or if you want to filter anything, so you can put in this include and exclude, and JMeter tool is going to filter your request and going to display it accordingly. So let's say I want to exclude uh, let's say any JPG files coming. Okay, so I can just mention like that, and what will happen is if any file if any request is coming as JPG, that is going to get rejected here. Okay, that is not going to appear here. Similar thing, if we want to include something specifically, we can mention that as well. Otherwise all the requests are going to get included here. Okay, here we have the option to click on add and add that, and obviously if you want to delete, we can delete that. Okay, now after adding these requests to the group, we are good with the recording. Now if you want, we can add little listeners here. So I'll click on listeners, I'll click on let's say view results tree. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll try to just run this request. Okay, we'll just see. Okay, I'll save my plan. I'll say threadgroup.jmx, that's fine. Now we'll go to view results tree. You'll see all your requests are getting executed here. Okay, now if we click on any request, we'll be able to see all the details regarding that. That concludes the entire session. I'll be creating more sessions on JMeter tool. Let me know how you found the session, and if you have any questions, if you have any feedback as well, that is appreciated. Thank you very much. Please do like and subscribe if you found anything useful in this video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.